welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is enjoying summer holidays. So as you can see, my skin is tanned because I went to Barcelona in Spain last week. That's why I didn't record any tutorial last week, but I'm here now and I'm gonna rock that. So in today's lesson, I will walk you through all the options and show you how to use them to display web content. We won't talk about UI web view as it's deprecated. While it's still available in the iOS SDK, you should always use WK web view instead. Okay, so in the previous lesson we have created the about storyboard, but we didn't provide any implementation yet. Okay, so that's what we are going to do today. Okay, and if you're ready now, let's get started. First, download the image pack, this one, okay, and import the images into the assets catalog. Okay, like this. Don't forget to tick this option for all the images. Okay, and then open about.storyboard to switch to the interface builder. Okay, cool. So we can close this window, and then let's start to design the table view controller. Drag first a view object from the object library, okay, to the header view of the table view, just like what we have done before. Okay, so here UI view, and then drop it like this. Okay, cool. The view object should be placed right above the table view cell. You can reveal it in document outline here. Okay, in the size inspector, set the height to 120 points. Okay, here height 120 points. Press enter. Okay, next drag an image view and place it in the view. Okay, image view. Okay, like this. In the size inspector, set the image view's width to 142. Here 142, and its height to 53 points. Okay, cool. Then in the attributes inspector, set the image to cafegram logo. Okay, here cafegram logo, and press enter. Okay, as always we need to add a few layout constraints. So click the align button here, okay, of the auto layout bar. Tick both horizontally in container and vertically in container, okay, to add the required constraints to center the image view. Cool. Now select the table view cell here. Okay, in the attributes inspector, set the cell's identifier to about cell here, like this. Press enter, and style to basic here. Okay, so as usual we need a class to associate with the table view controller in about.storyboard. In the project navigator, right click the controller folder here, okay, and select new file. Choose the Cocoa Touch class template and then click next. Name the class about table view controller and set its subclass to UI table view controller. So here UI table view controller, and the class name is about table view controller. Cool. Okay, in about.storyboard, select the table view controller here, okay, and set the custom class to about table view controller in the identity inspector. So here, normally, here you choose about table view controller. Okay, cool. You can press enter. You should be very familiar with the implementation of table views, but this time it's a little different. We are going to create two sections in the table view. Let's see how to do it. First, declare two array variables to store the table content. Okay? Here, I will let you copy paste these two variables. Okay? So the first variable is very straightforward. It just stores the section titles. Okay? The section content array variable needs some explanation because we haven't talked about tuples. Okay, as you can see, each row of data has an image and a description. When the user taps any of the rows, we will load the corresponding hyperlink of the selected item. Therefore, for each row of record, it actually has the following information: an image, a description, and a link. Okay, so in Swift, it offers a feature known as tuples that lets you group multiple values into a single compound value. Okay, so now let's continue to implement the table view. Okay, to create a table view with two sections, all we need to do is return true. Okay, or section titles.count in the number of sections method and return the corresponding number of rows in the number of rows in section method. Okay, so now we are going to update the methods in the about table view controller class like this. Okay, so here, number of sections, you can write section titles dot count. Okay, and then number of rows in section, here you can write section content. Okay, section dot count like this. Okay, so in other words, the number of rows in section method will return 2 for the first section and 3 for the other section. The UI table view data source protocol provides an optional method called title for header in section. To present the section title, we need to implement this method and return the corresponding title for the specified section. Okay, so right now insert the following code in the about table view controller class. Okay, so maybe just right there you can write title for header in section. Okay, and then return section titles section like this. Cool. Lastly, implement the cell for row at method to set the text label and return the cell. Okay, here, so first you can uncomment the method. Okay, and then here we are going to use our own identifier, which is about cell. Okay, and then we can write there, let cell data is equal to section content. Okay, indexpath dot section, then indexpath dot row. Okay, then cell dot text label dot text is equal to cell data dot text, and cell image view dot image is equal to UI image named this one, okay, cell data dot image. Cool. And then we return the cell. Now run the app and take a quick look. We have already created the user interface of the about screen, okay? Oh, sorry, I have to write the override word, and now it should work. Okay. So here, as you can see, we have right now our about screen, okay? So these are the two sections, feedback and follow us, and then you have the under sections, okay? Cool. But right now there are a couple of things I want to tweak. First, I prefer to use a large title in the navigation bar, and then I want to remove the extra separators of the blank rows here, okay? So now we are going to update the view did load method like this. So here you can delete all these lines first and then write table view dot cell layout margins follow readable width is equal to true. Okay, navigation controller dot navigation bar dot prefers large title is equal to true. Then you can write configure the navigation bar appearance, okay, and write navigation controller dot navigation bar dot set background image, okay, this one, yes, with an empty UI image object, okay, and here you can write default, then navigation controller dot navigation bar dot shadow image is equal to UI image, okay, and here I'm going to copy paste these lines for the color. So here, for instance, no, yes, these lines, okay. Okay, table view dot table footer view is equal to UI view, okay. So now you should be familiar with the code for navigation bar customization, so I would not go into details. The last line of code is used to remove the extra separator. Now run the app again and you should see the large title in the about screen, okay? So here, as you can see, it works, okay? Okay, now that we have prepared the user interface of the about view, let's start to explore the first option of loading web content. When the Rate Us on App Store option is selected, the app will switch to mobile Safari and load the content, okay? When the method is invoked, your user will leave the current application and switch over to Safari to load the web content. To handle table cell selection, as you know, we need to override the didSelectRow at indexPath method. Insert the following code snippet, okay? So here, did I already use it? No, okay, so I'm going to call it did select row at index path, okay, and then you write let link is equal to section content then index path dot section, index path dot row, dot link, okay, and then switch index path dot section by case 0. Here you can write leave us feedback section, okay. So here if index path dot row is equal to 0, then if let URL is equal to URL, okay, link, then UI application dot shared dot open URL, okay, and you can delete these parameters, okay, like this, and default you can write break, okay, if it doesn't work. So we first find out the link of the selected row. We then use a switch statement to check the section number. For the first row of the first section, rate us on Appster here. We call UI application.shared.openURL to open the Safari browser. Typically, we specify the iTunes link of the app in the call. However, the link is not ready yet, so we simply put an arbitrary link for demo purpose. Later, when we are ready to release the app, we can change it accordingly, okay? So now run the app again in the simulator. In the About tab, tap the Rate Us on Appster item here. You'll be switched to mobile Safari and the web content should be loaded properly, okay? Cool. So it's very easy to open a web page in mobile Safari. To load web content using WK Web View, it will take you a few more steps, okay? The WK Web View class is a successor of UI Web View, which is capable of loading remote web content. If you bundle an HTML file in your app, you can also use the class to load the web page locally. In general, for apps that support iOS 8 or later, it's recommended to use WK Web View instead of UI Web View because WK Web View outperforms its predecessor in terms of page loading speed, okay? Practically, you need to create an URL object followed by a URL request object and then load the request by calling the load method of WK Web View. So let's start to implement it in the app. In about.storyboard, drag a view controller object from the object library to the storyboard, okay, like this. Then drag a WebKit view object to the view controller, okay, so you can just type WebKit and then drop it here, okay. Resize it to make it take up the whole view, okay, so like this. Next, click the Add New Constraints button to add some spacing constraints for the top, left, bottom, and right sides, okay? So it's 0 everywhere, and then you just click Add 4 constraints, okay? When the Tell Us Your Feedback button is tapped, the app will transit to the new view controller to display the web content. Okay, to do that, we have to define a segue between the about view controller and the web view controller. So drag from the view controller button in the scene dock to the new view controller, then release the buttons and select shows as the segue type. Okay, so here, this one, and then choose show. Okay, here. Cool. This creates a segue between the two controllers. Select the segue, okay, here, and set the identifier to show web view in the attributes inspector. Here, show web view. Press enter. As usual, the next step is to create a custom class for the web view controller. Right-click the controller folder in the project navigator and select new file. Choose the Cocoa Touch class, okay, template, and name the class web view controller. Also set it as a subclass of UI view controller. Okay, so here UI view controller, and then name it web view controller like this, then save it. Okay, since WK web view is in the WebKit framework, you have to first insert the following import statement at the very beginning of the file. So here, import WebKit, okay, in the WebViewController.Switch class file, declare an outlet variable for the web view and a property. Okay, so at ib outlet var web view to be type of wk web view like this, and var target URL like this. Okay, so for the view did load method, update it with the following line of code to load a web page. Okay, so navigation item dot large title display mode is equal to never. Okay, and then if let URL is equal to URL like this one, target URL, then let request is equal to URL request. Okay, this one, then you write URL, and here web view dot load request, which is our request. Okay, to prevent this web view controller from using the large title in the navigation bar, we set the large title display mode property to never. Now go back to the about table view controller class and update the did select row at index path method like this. Okay, so here you can write else if index path dot row is equal to 1, then perform segue. Okay, with identifier we are going to write show web view. Okay, and here self. Okay, cool. Let me check if it's the right identifier because I'm not sure. So here show web view. Okay, that's cool, so it's good. Okay, so here you can write also table view dot deselect rows. Okay, here it's index path and here false. We just add another if clause for index path.row equal 1, which is the tell us your feedback cell. Okay, when the cell is selected, we simply call perform segue method to trigger the show web view segue and transit to the web view controller. Additionally, create the prepare for sender method. Okay, deselect row. Okay, so here maybe we can use this one. Okay, you can write if segue dot identifier is equal to show web view, then if let destination controller is equal to segue dot destination as wk web no as web view controller. Okay, let index path is equal to table view dot index path for selected row. Okay, then destination controller dot target URL is equal to section content index path dot section, then index path dot row dot link. Okay, like this. So the purpose of this method is to find out the link of the selected item and pass it to the web view controller by setting the target URL property. Lastly, switch over to about the storyboard. Select the view controller that contains the web view here. Okay, in the identity inspector, set its custom class to web view controller. Okay, cool. Also establish a connection between the web view outlet and the WebKit view object in the interface builder. Okay, so here like this. Okay, cool. Now run the project to test out the changes. Okay, you should be able to load the web view controller, but WK web view can't load the URL showing you a blank page normally. Okay, so we are going to try. What's going on? Why is it not? Why it's not working? Okay, so what the heck? Okay, it's animated. Now it should work. Okay, so here, okay, as you can see, we have a blank page. Okay, so what's the problem? It's due to the non-HTTPS URL. Starting from iOS 9, Apple introduced a feature called App Transport Security, or ATS for short. The purpose of this feature is to improve the security of connections between an app and web services by enforcing some of the best practices. Okay, one of them is the use of secure connections. With ATS, all network requests should now be sent over HTTPS. If you make a network connection using HTTP, ATS will block the request. Okay, so to resolve this issue, you should always load a network request over HTTPS instead of HTTP. That is what Apple wants you to do. However, if the websites that you're talking to is out of your controller and that doesn't support HTTPS, how can we work around this restriction? Okay, so first we have to go here in the info.playlist file. Okay, so this file contains essential configuration information for our app. To edit the file, select info playlist. Okay, in the project navigator to display the content in a property list editor. To add a new key, right click the editor. Okay, and select add row here. For the key column, enter app transport security settings. So where is it? App, this one. Okay, so here you have to open this line, then you have to click here and choose allow arbitrary loads. Okay, and set its value to yes. Press enter. Okay, by setting the key to yes, you explicitly disable app transport security. Now run the app again. It should be able to load the web page. Okay, so here if I click here, as you can see, it works. Okay, cool. Finally, let's talk about SF Safari View Controller. As discussed earlier, this new controller allows developers to embed a Safari browser in your app. It shares many great features of Safari, such as Safari Autofill and Safari Reader. According to Apple, if your app displays web content in a standard browser, it's recommended to use SF Safari View Controller. Okay, so now open the about table view controller.swift file. We'll update the code so that the app displays the social links Twitter, Facebook, Instagram using SF Safari View Controller. So first, insert the following import statement at the very beginning of the file. So here you can write import Safari services. Okay, we have to import the Safari Services framework before using SF Safari View Controller. Okay, next, update the did select row add index path method. Okay, so this one. Okay, so I think we can write another case. Okay, so you can write first follow us section, and then case 1. Okay, if let URL is equal to URL like this. Okay, link, then let Safari controller to be equal of SF Safari View Controller. Okay, with this parameter, and then present Safari controller animated true and completion nil. Okay, in the above code we add a new case 1. Okay, to handle the social profile item. The code is very straightforward. We just load the link and display the web content with SF Safari View Controller. Now it's ready to test the app. Once launched, select About and tap a cell in the Follow Us section. The app will open the link in a Safari-like browser. Okay, so here You can try Twitter, and as you can see, it's gonna work. So it's very cool. Okay, done. Then we can try Facebook. Okay, and lastly, Instagram. Okay, and in these sections, you have to inform about the pages that you will create concerning your app. Okay, so when you will create your app, it will have a Twitter page, maybe a Facebook page, and also an Instagram page. Why that? Because it's important to gather people around your application, and it's a good way to communicate with your fans. Okay, guys? The SF Safari View Controller class provides developers a simple way to embed a web browser in their app. If your app needs to provide a first-class browsing experience for your users, the Safari View Controller should save you a lot of time from creating your own version of web browser. In most cases, you may just want a simple web view to display web content. WK Web View will be probably your choice. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed this lesson, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next lesson guys. Bye bye.